Hello, good day, everyone, from any part of the world that you're watching this video right now. My name is Gift Warita Ejuwoke. So I'm a business intelligence specialist, and today I'll be taking us through a little journey on how you can use basic Python um, functions to be able to analyze data. So for today, I'll be looking at a sample e-commerce data that has to do with purchases that were being done through Amazon. Okay, so we'll be looking at how we can be able to get some deep insights, solving some problems, looking at some questions, and we're showing us how to actually write your statement. Okay, so first and foremost, I'll be creating a comment here where I'm going to import. So basically, it's always good to start with your libraries, importing the libraries that you'll be using for your work. So I'm going to import the required libraries. Okay. So the first I'll do is to import pandas. Okay, so pandas is a library, Python library that is very, very important, especially when you're doing anything that has to do with analysis, okay, because it helps you to be able to read your files. Okay, so as PD, I'll also be importing NumPy as NP. Okay, now the next thing I'll do is to connect to my data. So I have my data in the same directory with my code now, my Jupyter code. So I'll quickly give it a name. So data equal to PD. Okay, so it's a CSV. So because it's CSV, that's why I'm using this approach. Okay, so e-commerce, so it's within my directory. So all I need to do is just to call it. Okay, but if you're having a different part, you will need to put the parts there. Okay, so let's run this code. Okay, so let's confirm if everything is intact before we start solving some problems. Okay, yeah, so the head gives you a summary of what you're doing. So when you use the head function helps you to be able to have a quick overview of the first 5 rows in your data set. Okay, so I have that already. Okay, so it means I'm well connected. So anything I'm going to be doing, it's going to be easy here. So just take a look at my columns. Okay, so that I'll be sure to remember the columns. So we have address, lot, AM or PM, browser info, company, credit card number used, the credit card expiring date, credit card security codes, credit card provider, the email, the job, the IP address, language, okay, EL, FR, and so on and so forth. And we also have the purchase price, customers actually used to be able to get their given information. Okay, so we're going to start the journey to answering 1 or 2 questions. So I'll see how many questions we can be able to answer within the short time I have, because I'm just trying to do a short video. Okay, so right now I'm going to put a comment. So since I want to put a comment, I don't want to be a code. I'll just press M on my keyboard. So this change this to a markdown, and I'll quickly put my comments. So my comments will be more or less like questions. So question one. So question one, I put that. Okay, so how many rows and columns? So I want to get to know how many rows and columns are in the data sets. Okay, so I want to know how many. So how do I do that? I already have my, remember my data is ecom data. So I always ensure that I don't forget that. Ecom data dot info. So we're using the function info. So let's see, alt enter. Wow, so I have that information clear right now. So I can see the rows that I have from 0 to 9,999. So that's about 10,000 records. And for the columns, I have 15, a total of 14 columns. So this is a total of 14. A total of 14 columns. Wow, so easy within split of seconds. So this is one of the reasons why I so much love Python. It makes your analysis so easy. So let's take a look at the second question. So quickly type the question and we proceed. So let's see average purchase. Okay, so let me see, what is the average purchase price? Purchase price. Okay, so for us to do the average, we'll still use our data, call your data, and we use mean. So the function is mean. Okay, so let's wait, it's still. Okay, so we have our mean record. So it gives us a general mean for each of the items. So since we're interested in purchase, so I'm going to reference the purchase right now. So I'm going to reference the purchase column. So the purchase price column. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, so now you see what we have, 50.35 US dollars. Okay, so that's the average. How about we get to know the maximum? So we want to know the maximum. What is the maximum purchase price? Okay, so still similar to what we did earlier, I'll just reference the column. So we're referring to the purchase price column. So the maximum, so use the function max. Voila, so $99.999. Okay, so what if we want to do that of the minimum? So it's still similar. What is the minimum purchase price? So still same method. The only difference is that we'll be using mean. Okay. Okay, so 0 is the minimum. So let's look at this en as their language of choice. So this English as the language of choice. So how do we now solve for this in a situation where the language of choice is English? So it's also very straightforward information. If you look at the column that contains language. So let's take a look. And so sometimes in Python, you might probably need to be able to break down your scripts into different segments so that you know how to easily put them together. So because I want to show you the steps I'm doing, so I'll be breaking it at some point. So when I put this, so it returns for me information that has to do with the language column. Okay, so I have so many. So like we said, we have 10,000 records already. So, but we're just interested in the English, the EN. So we are looking at where this is equal to EN. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is to introduce this. Okay, so I want you to check for me the column where language is equal to EN, and then at the same time return the information based on the language column and give me a total count. So let's see. Okay. So I have a total of 1,098 people that actually prefer English as their language of choice. Okay, so let's see how many questions we can be able to answer. What if we want to know the number of people with lawyer, number of people with lawyer, okay, with lawyer as their job title, How do we go about it? So it's still the same principle that we applied for this. So I could just copy this to save time. So still same method, but instead of language, I'm going to refer to job. Okay, so where the job is equal to lawyer. Okay, so for me the count. Okay, so we have 30 people in our data set whose job title is lawyer. Okay, so let's see if we can still solve much more questions. So number of people who made purchases in AM and PM. So AM here refers to morning. So if we go back to our table, so we see we have a column AM or PM. So I believe in the data set, this is meant to help us know the time of the day, whether it's morning or afternoon, or let's say evening periods these purchases were made. So you want to actually be able to know, okay, the number of people who made purchases within this period. So for us to be able to do this, we would need to be able to group our records, okay, based on AM and PM. So to do that, I'll still continue with my data. Remember, my data name is ecom data. So we're going to be using the group by function. Group by function. So in our group by function, let's call the column. Which column are we grouping by? So this is the column we're grouping by. Okay, and we are going to bring out the price. So we want to group the price, the purchase price by AM or PM column, and at the same time we are interested in actually getting the count of persons. Okay, so this is it, okay, on my screen. So this amazing, I super love Python. Python makes work so pretty fast. So let's see, I want to list the, let's see, list. Okay, let's list the 5 most popular job titles. So out of all the job titles that we have in our data set, we want to know the most popular. So the most popular job titles is going to be based on the number of persons that actually have that job title. So how do we go about it? So ecom data, referring to the job column. The job column contains our job title. So we're going to be looking at the values of count. So we'll get the counts. So let me quickly run this and see so that you can see what it shows you us. So when you enter, so it's still rolling. Okay, it's still running. Just give it a moment. Wow, I got an error somewhere. Okay, so I'm getting this error simply because it's not an object attribute. Okay, so let's just go ahead. Okay, I've seen my error. So value, okay, not values. Okay, so let's quickly, so you can see it. So we now have it. So we have the interior so with the use of this function value underscore count, it helps you to get everything arranged in an orderly manner from highest to top. Okay, but remember what we're interested in is just the 5 most, so this first 5. So in order for us to achieve this, I'll need to use the head function. So head function 5. So what I'm saying here, the top 5. Okay, so let's run this now. Okay, so this is it. So amazing. Okay, so now let's look at another kind of questions. Let's see. So if we go to our data sets, in our data set, you can see we have a different column. And one very interesting column is the lot. So we have a kind of transaction that has to do with lots. So let's see. We probably want to get another lot. So let's say from the data set, we're asked to actually get this. What is the purchase price for the transaction made on lots? On lots WT. So want to get to know. Okay, so what do we do at this point? So it's still similar to what I've shown us thus far. All I need to do is to call my data. So the column I'm looking at is the lots column. So I'm now saying where this is equal to the lots. So this is the lot. Okay. So if you just do this, you see it returns a Boolean value. Okay, so it's able to tell you where the lot is not 90 WT, it gives you false, and where you have it, it will give you true. Okay, so we have quite a number up to 10,000, like I told us earlier when we trying to get the total number of rows records from our data set. Okay, so now we're interested to get the count or the price where it's true. Okay, so at what point is it true? So how do I run this easily? So I'm going to say, okay, this is my condition. I want you to give me this. So I'm going to call this. So the condition is what I have embedded. And at this condition, where the lot is this, I want you to actually give me the purchase price. Okay, so it's not difficult. So once you understand the concept, it becomes easier. So what we did earlier, we wanted to be able to see where the lot is equal to 90 WT. So based on that reference, we'll be able to get our purchase price. Okay, so that's what I just did now. Okay, so we see that it's on row 513. So on row index 513, we actually get a purchase price for lot 90 WT to be $75.1. So this super amazing. I actually love this. Python is amazing. And one very good thing is that here in Africa, we're already working out modalities to see how everyone can be better. So we have different guys working on Python. We have so many professionals in Python. I'm just an upcoming Python person, but I know in Africa we can do more. There's a lot of huge data gap that we can be able to solve using our Python skill. Okay, so right now, let's see another question. What if we want to be able to know, okay, the email of a person with a particular credit card number. So let's say what is the email address of the person with the following credit card number. So remember, I've already looked at the data set before in CSV format and try to come up with some questions that we may be solving. So don't begin to wonder, how did I know the credit card that we will be looking at? Okay, so I wrote down the credit card number out, and let's see how do we reference and get this 5071. Okay, so let me quickly just copy this number because I know we'll be making use of it. So we're still similar to what we did when we're trying to get the purchase price based on the transaction that's being made. The same thing we're going to be applying for the next question. So they both share similarities. Okay, so what we are saying is we get our reference, a credit card. So the column is called credit card. This then since this is a number, so we're saying where this is this. Okay, so now how do I pick this? This is my condition. So in my condition, I'm going to embed it in my actual data. So I'm saying the column you should reference for the e-com data is the column where the credit card is this. Okay, when you arrive at that particular column, based on the index, I want you to spool for me the email. Okay, so let's see what's going to give us. Voila, so amazing. So within split of seconds, we already have our information. So the email is abounds@yahoo.com. This is super amazing. I hope you're having fun and enjoying this brief video session with me. Okay, so let's quickly look at another kind of complex situation where you have different conditions to determine a particular solution to your problem. So we're looking at a situation where you're given the provider name. Say, okay, find the purchase made based on different criteria, probably, and the credit card type or credit card number, and so on. So how do we solve problems when we're given multiple conditions? Guess what? It's not as difficult as it seems. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so let me quickly type how many people have American Express as their credit card provider and made purchase above $95. So these two conditions, one of it is determined by the credit card provider, and the second is determined by the purchase. Okay, so above. So how do we do this? Okay, let's first of all define our condition. So let's define our condition first and foremost. Data. So this is our first condition. So we have it in the CC provider column. So we have this equal to what? American Express. So this is the first condition. So we have another condition. So let's join those conditions. So remember what we're doing now is the conditions or the criteria we'll be using to determine our answers. So this is what we're going to embed eventually in our data set to get what we're looking for. So for you to join different conditions, when you have multiple conditions, you will use the ampersand sign symbol. So this is the ampersand symbol. So I'll embed the second condition in a bracket. So come data where purchase. So purchase price is greater than 95. Okay, beautiful. So having defined this, let's embed it now within our own data set. So call our data sets. So this embedded now. Then the next thing we need to do, we need to get the count. Okay, so we can return, we want to return the answer in just a single um, a single column, so we don't have multiple columns. Okay, so just choose any column of your choice where you don't have null. So I do not have null here, so I'm going to make use of this. So the reason why I'm calling another or referencing another column is for me to be able to just have a single line answer without having it replicated in different columns. Okay, so I'm going to do my count. So this is my count function. Okay, so Alt Enter. So we have a total of 39. This is super, super amazing. I so much love this. It's so fast. So that's why I love Python. So I want to believe you are following and you should be able to do this by yourself. Okay. So let's look at another question. How many people have credit card that could expire in the year 2025? How do I know this? Pretty simple. Okay, so first and foremost, let's call our data set column that contains the expiring date. So we have it as CC. When we go up, you may be wondering, how comes I know that? So the first thing, we did was for us to get head the top 5 rows so as to enable us know the columns we'll be working with. So from here, you can see the column that contains that information is this. Okay, so let's call it. Let's see the way our data is represented. Although looking at it from here, from the screen here, you'll notice we just have a month, that's MM/year, which is YY. Okay, so let's just take another look at it. Okay, so we can now be able to know how we will address the issue. So as you can see from below, we have it in this format, 02/20. So how do we do this? Okay, so let me quickly show you how we can achieve this. So let's assume I want to just reference the first. So we are looking at the first index, okay, which is 0. So if you have this, how do I get this information? So pretty simple. All you need to do is to split. What is your splitting condition? So my splitting condition is slash. So let's take a look and see what it gives us. So you can see from here that it has given us 2 variables. So it has splitted it into 2 based on a criteria, which is slash. So I'm actually interested in this. I'm interested in this part of the string, because this represents the year in the YY format, while the other one, the 02, represents the month. Okay, so how do I call this? Remember how we do it? the columns are zeros and ones. So to call that, all I need to do is to call my one. So one, you see, so it gives us, okay, now, but can we actually apply this directly as into our question, remembering that we are looking at counts, across an entire column, not just a specific index. Okay, so for us to be able to do this easily, let's come down here. So I'll quickly show us. Ecom data. So we are referencing the expiring date column. So exp dates. Okay, so we're going to embed this into another function. So we're going to apply using our lambda. So lambda we help us. So let's define this expression as exp. Okay, so what we are saying is that exp is going to highlight the first the values after the third index. Okay, after the third column. Okay, so if you look at what we had initially, we had 02 slash, the 2 is 0. The 0 is your 0, while the 2 is 1, the slash is 3. So what we are simply saying from here is this. I want you to take any value after the third line, after the third character, pick it up. That's all I need. Okay, so you get that done. And we are now going to put a condition that where this information is equal to 25. Okay, so the whole of what I've highlighted right now is our special condition. Okay, so the whole of this is our condition. Okay, so we are looking at the condition where the credit card would expire in year 2025. So this defines your criteria, your condition for your calculation. So the next thing for us to do is to call out our column. So we're now calling our data set and say, I want you to give me the information where this criteria is true. Okay, so where this criteria is true, tell me the count. Okay, but if I do this, it's going to give me multiple rows. So look at it. So it gives me the answer, but in multiple format. So I'm not interested in this, but looking at this, you know, the total is 1,033. But for me to just return it in a single line, all I need to do is to call another column. So I'm going to call another column. So this column I'm going to call, I'll just call back the credit card expiring column. So CCEXP date. So okay, look at the difference. So voila, so it just gives us a direct and a straight forward answer, which is super amazing. Okay, our time has far gone. I never knew this video was going to be this long. Okay, so let's just treat the next question. So let's see how we can be able to get the top 5 most popular email provider that our customers, the customers in this data actually using. Okay, so let's look at what are the top see what are the top 5 most popular email provider or hosts in the data sets. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking at. We want to get this. Okay, so let's see how. How do we now get this? Okay, so this is a little bit similar to what we did here. Okay, so permit me to just copy it and paste, then we do some editing. Okay, so we are doing the counts based on a certain criteria. Okay, so these are criteria within, so our criteria is in the email column. Email column, so we're still using Lambda, so let's define this as domain. So why we're using the same methods, because email address actually contains, let's see, so from here, you can see clearly that an email address contains a username, at, and the domain. So we're only interested in the domain. So the domain comes after the at sign symbol. So how do we get that? We definitely need to split. Okay, so that's why we're still making use of what we had earlier. Okay, so email. So let's call our function a domain. So what we are saying is here, so let's define our domain. So when we call our domain, what we want it to do is that it should split directly. So we are going to use the split function, function. Okay, and the condition is the at. So having splitted, the next thing we want it to do for us is to pick the second where the domain is. So where the domain is, it's 1 and not 0, so 1. So what we are simply saying is, okay, look into the email. I want you to apply a split, okay, using at as the criteria, then pick the second column, which is index, the column index here is 1. Okay, so we want it to now be in the top 5. So similar to what we did here to get the list of the 5 most important, most popular job titles. So we are still applying the same method. The key ingredient here is this, the value underscore count. So we'll still apply that, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so now we say dot value. You need to be careful when you're typing this. Don't put values, okay, because there is no function like that. Okay, so it's value underscore counts. So remember, we are interested in the top 5, so head 5. So let's see. Okay, it's still running. Let's see, just give it a minute. I think my system is a little bit slow. Ooh, got an error. What could that error be? Someone tell me something we didn't close. Okay, let's quickly look at it. Okay, these apply. Good. So let's look at the error. So it said trace key, trace most, index column this, the key column not clear. Okay, so let's quickly solve that now. Okay, let's do it one after the other. Let's see. So we are looking at the email. Okay, we apply split domain dot split. Okay, so I've seen the error. So we do not need this, considering the fact that we are just getting the list. So we are not calling forth any column. So the column of email. So when we're applying, we're going to apply a condition to this email. So this condition is going to help us filter. So what we are filtering based on this condition. Okay, so this should be fine. Okay, so sometimes when you make mistake, one very good thing about Python, especially when you're using your Jupyter, is that it tells you quickly where you made an error. So let's get this. Okay, wow, so this beautiful. Okay, so the top most used provider from our answer is Hotmail. Okay, so thank you guys. Thank you. So thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. You had an amazing time. So just a quick recap. So what we did was for us to see how we could solve one or two problems as regard to a sample e-commerce purchase data. And first and foremost, imported some of the libraries that are very important. And we quickly went to read our files. After having read our files, we gave it a data set name, ecom data. And the next thing was for us to have a preview of how the data looks like using the head function. So we also proceeded to answering other questions from knowing the number of rows and columns in our data set, and so many more. So this is super amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Once again, my name is Wareta Gift Ejoke. I'm a business intelligence specialist. Thank you. Do have a wonderful